In the year 117 AD, Rome ruled the most powerful empire the world had ever seen. From the cold rain of Britain to the burning deserts of the Middle East, one city controlled everything. Its armies were undefeated, its laws shaped civilizations, its roads still exist today. Rome looked eternal, and that was the problem. Because within a few centuries, the greatest empire in history would be broken, divided, and overrun, not by one enemy, not by one battle, but by three brutal mistakes Rome never believed could destroy it. This is how Rome built an empire that lasted 1,000 years, and why it ultimately collapsed.
Rome didn't begin as an empire. It began as a small, struggling city surrounded by enemies. What made Rome different wasn't wealth and numbers, it was discipline. Roman soldiers trained relentlessly. They built roads as they marched. They constructed forts every night, even in hostile territory. But Rome's real genius wasn't just military power, it was absorption. Rome didn't simply conquer its enemies, it absorbed them. Defeated peoples were offered Roman citizenship. Local elites were brought into Roman government. Foreign gods were welcomed into Roman religion. Here's how radical this was. A Gallic chief's son could become a Roman senator. A conquered soldier could retire as a Roman citizen with land. Your hometown got roads, aqueducts, and bathhouses.
Rome's first mistake wasn't corruption, it was success. The empire became massive, stretching thousands of miles across 3 continents. Messages that once took days now took weeks. Orders from Rome arrived too late to matter. Borders became impossible to defend. The Roman army was spread thin. Generals on distant frontiers began acting independently. Loyalty shifted from the empire to individual commanders. To survive, Rome split itself in two: the Western Roman Empire and the Eastern Roman Empire. On paper, it was a solution. In reality, it was the beginning of fragmentation. The West grew poorer and weaker. The East grew richer and more powerful. Rome was no longer one empire, it was competing halves pretending to be united.
As Rome expanded, its economy began to rot from the inside. Wars were expensive. Soldiers demanded pay. The state needed money. So Rome did what desperate governments often do. It devalued its currency. Silver coins were diluted with cheap metals. Prices soared. Trust collapsed. The wealthy avoided taxes. The poor were crushed by them. Small farmers lost their land to massive estates. Citizens became dependent on free grain and handouts. Meanwhile, political corruption became normal. Offices were bought, not earned. Bribes replaced law. Power mattered more than competence. Rome still looked powerful, but underneath, the system that sustained it was breaking apart.
Rome's final mistake was the most dangerous. It stopped being Roman. As citizen loyalty faded, Rome relied more on mercenaries, soldiers with no emotional connection to the empire. Many armies were now filled with foreign recruits. They fought for pay, not Rome. They served generals, not ideals. At the same time, political chaos took over. Emperors were assassinated. Claimants rose and fell within months. Civil wars weakened defenses. And then came a decision that would haunt Rome forever. In 376 AD, the Goths, a Germanic tribe fleeing the Huns, begged Rome for permission to cross the Danube. Rome said yes. They were promised land and protection, but Rome betrayed them. Roman officials starved them, extorted them, enslaved their children. The Goths revolted, and in 378 AD, at the Battle of Adrianople, they did the unthinkable. They annihilated a Roman army. and killed Emperor Valens himself.
Rome had invited them in as refugees. They became conquerors. Rome never recovered from that blow. The invasions continued. Germanic tribes crossed Roman borders not as raiders, but as settlers. Rome believed it could control them. It was wrong. In 410 AD, Rome itself was sacked by the Visigoths. For the first time in nearly 800 years, the Eternal City fell. Romans couldn't believe it. The city that had stood untouched for centuries was burning. The psychological shock was total. If Rome could fall, nothing was sacred. The Western Roman Empire would officially collapse in 476 AD. And here's the twist. The last emperor was a teenage boy named Romulus Augustulus. Romulus, after Rome's mythical founder. Augustulus, Little Augustus, after Rome's first emperor. The most ironic name in history for the man who would be the last. He was deposed without a fight, not with a single dramatic battle, but with silence.
Rome didn't vanish completely. Its eastern half lived on for another 1,000 years as the Byzantine Empire. Roman law shaped modern governments. Roman roads shaped Europe. Roman ideas shaped civilization itself. Rome fell as an empire, but it never truly disappeared. Rome lasted 1,000 years because it adapted. It fell because it stopped knowing what it was. Its size became its weakness. Its wealth became its corruption. Its power became its illusion. Rome conquered the world, but in the end, it couldn't conquer itself. So which empire should we explore next? Ancient Persia, the British Empire, or the civilization that came closest to replacing Rome itself? Let me know in the comments.